Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sports Club, a podcast presented by the Jamaica Observer. I'm Daniel Blake. Today our topic is about schoolboy football. The Manning and the Costa Cup competitions have come to an end, and we'll be talking about the major issues that we have seen over the last 3 months. So Kingston College, unfortunately for Wilmerians like me, won their 17th Manning Cup title. They beat St. Catherine 3-1. In the Da Costa Cup, Garvey Maceo clawing it at the death, scoring a 90th minute equalizer, then going on to win on penalties against first-timers McGraw. Mona High, who won the Manning Cup last year, had to settle for the Walker Cup this year as they beat Excelsior in the final, while St. Elizabeth Technical Stets, they won their first under-19 title in 9 years, beating last season's Da Costa Cup champions Clarendon College. So it was a very interesting season, and there is still one game to go in the season because the Olivia Shield between Kingston College and Garvey Maceo will take place this Saturday. But there are some things that, I want to highlight that we saw throughout the season. So there was a discussion happening around the entire season, and I heard some of it at the National Stadium saying that this season wasn't as interesting in terms of the star names, more things happening and that type of thing. And when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I understand. We may not have had for example, a Kaheem Dixon, who we had last season, who really took the world by storm and is now playing in England with Charlton Athletic. There have been players in the past that we could call, but I think this 2024 season has been the most, what should I say, equal in terms of the competitive factor. There was more parity than we've seen before. When you think about a team like McGraw High, who maybe 5-10 years ago, people would have never thought would have even made it out of the group in the Da Costa Cup. That was a team that would unfortunately be picking up some of those heavy defeats. So for them to even make a final, and they were literally seconds away from lifting the title, that was amazing. But even when you think about Ocho Rios High, the first team from St. Anne to make the semifinals of a Da Costa Cup. Ocho Rios High, again, a football program that was non-existent years ago. If you look at the Manning Cup, even a team like Campion College were on the verge of making the semifinals. The same for Excelsior High. We know that Excelsior used to have a very good team in the early 2000s and pre-2000, but they were on the verge of qualifying as well. So when you think about all the teams that participate, and I don't want to leave out St. Catherine High, who made their first final and lost to KC. But I think teams are now much better than they were years ago. And I have to give credit to ISA for their transfer rules, because maybe years ago, some of the McGraw players that you saw today would be maybe playing for Clarendon College or Glenmuir. They may have been playing for KC or JC, the same for St. Catherine and those things. So I think the fact that schools now have limited opportunities to go out and take players from other schools are actually building those other schools up, so their program ends up getting better. So knowing that, you can't just take a fourth and a fifth form and just bring him into your system. No, schools are investing in their own programs. They are able to keep their top players and then get a supporting cast around them, which ends up making the Da Costa Cup and the Manning Cup a lot more even, because there was no real title favorite this year. I know heading into the season, we thought, okay, it would be Jamaica College and Mona for the Manning Cup. We thought it would be Glenmuir or Clarendon College for the DaCosta Cup. Clarendon College didn't even make the semifinals, much less the quarterfinals, right? They had to go and play in the Ben Francis Cup. And this is a Clarendon College team who for the last 3-4 seasons have always been there, challenging for the title. The same for Mona High. The fact that they finished the bottom of their group in the quarterfinals says a lot. So I think I appreciate this season a little bit more than other seasons, knowing that the quote-unquote underdogs really benefited this year. And going forward, we're probably going to see more, because I'm even going to throw a team out that you might potentially laugh at. But when you look at a team like Penwood High surprised Kingston College in the first round. They beat Campion College as well, I believe. And people are saying, oh, this Penwood program could be going somewhere. Now, bear in mind, they didn't make it out of the group because some disciplinary issues and some injuries ended up curtailing their season. But there are schools out there who have decent programs, but they just need a little bit more experience. So can you imagine in years to come, we might be talking about a Penwood, we might be talking about a Happy Grove, we might be talking about Ocho Rios High and McGrath being DaCosta Cup champions in the future, right? So I really appreciate the parity in schoolboy football this season. I really don't like the fact that Kingston College won. Just bear with me and my Wilmerian pride. But Vassal Reynolds deserves a lot of credit. Just his second season working with a lot of younger players. Well, everybody who plays in the Manning Cup are young players. But in terms of working with third, fourth, and even fifth formers and carrying them to the Manning Cup title in just the second season is pretty impressive. We know Vassal Reynolds' record at Wolmer's and Rossi's, so he's no stranger to winning schoolboy titles. But to do it under the Kingston College pressure was great. And Lester Hibbert at Garvey Maceo was the assistant coach to Meron Gordon, who is now the Reggae Boys assistant coach, stepping up this year and guiding the team to a title. So great coaches who have really developed and invested in the teams. The second thing I want to highlight about the season is the surfaces, right? So the National Stadium, I think for the last 2-3 weeks, hosted a whole lot of doubleheaders. So they hosted the semi-finals of the Champions Cup as well as the finals of the Champions Cup. So those are 3 games. They hosted the semi-finals of both the Manning and the DaCosta Cup, as well as the finals of those competitions. And the stadium pitch at one point looked terrible. And we know that our stadium surface isn't the best already. We've heard our Reggae Boys complaining about it. We've heard coaches and players from other countries coming here and saying, well, the surface wasn't the best. And we just had over, 10 games in the space of 2 weeks. So the surface really didn't get a chance to rest. So as a match play on Tuesday, next match play Wednesday, then the next match play Saturday, then it's back on Tuesday, then it's back on Wednesday, then it's back on Friday, then it's back on Saturday. So the stadium is actually going to get a week's rest because the Olivier Shield is going to take place this Saturday. So compared to the Da Costa Cup last Saturday, it will have 7 days before a team actually goes back and plays on it. But it's just that too many games are being played on the good surfaces, and I know that might sound strange to say because you want good football being played on good surfaces, but I think what this says is that we need more quote unquote national stadium surfaces. I know Sabina Park is probably the next best, but because we recently had the West Indies Test series, maybe that wasn't available to them. I know that they did host a few games at the Montego-based sports complex. Last season, they hosted some matches at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex. The Stadium East is often used, and we know the field there isn't great as well. And so our best surfaces are going to end up becoming the ordinary surfaces because it's overused. And I know that from January to March, there are going to be a lot less games, so it might get a chance to be rehabilitated, but then the cycle ends up continuing, right? So I do think that the field needs to be properly maintained, but I think this is a way to show that we do need more proper surfaces. So some of these club stadiums may need to step up and fix up their field, not only for their benefit, but also so that them can get back some money as well. Because when ISA comes and says, hey, we have a quarterfinals and a semifinals, both double headers that we want to take here, and the TV broadcast rights holders will come to you and say, hey, we love your stadium, we want to host some games here, you as a club will end up benefiting. So I do think I know we've said it a lot, but I do think we need more quality surfaces because we don't want to reach a stage where we have no good surface in Jamaica. We are already short on it. So if we can have some of the clubs, maybe the government, some private entity can come in and make some proper investments in our surfaces, because it's getting really bad. And the last thing I want to highlight is the scheduling. Now, I'm not going to criticize ISA for the scheduling of the first round, second round, and even potentially the quarterfinals, because a lot of that ends up getting messed up because of the rainy season. So the schoolboy football season takes place from September to early December. And we know that the hurricane season is from June to November. And most of our rains happen in that late September to early mid-November. So we had a lot of games that were postponed and so forth. But for the semifinals of the Manning and Da Costa Cup, as well as the Champions Cup, all of that took place within literally 2 weeks. And I feel like because we have so much more time. So today, we're in the second week of December. I know that they try to end it before school ends, but let's be honest with you. Whether school is on or off, I think that the football could have continued. I don't think we needed to rush that last part. I think it could have been spread out a lot more because a lot of the players did look tired. And, while we do try to, have more games and, enjoy the excitement and the ecstasy around it, we also need to protect the players. Fortunately, according to my knowledge, all the players seem to be fine. There were no major issues. But then, you really want to ensure that this doesn't cause any long-term damage. So playing 4 or 5 possibly 6 high intense games in the matter of 14 to 21 days. That's a lot. Not even professional footballers do that, right? So I think that is something that ISA will have to tweak going forward, but it might be difficult because of the whole rain situation, but we will see for the 2025 season. Again, congratulations to all the winners of the respective titles this year: Kingston College, Mona High, Garvey Masaya, and Stets. You all did well, and the support and the turnout this year was also pretty good to the matches. So I was happy to see that. I'm hoping that some of these youngsters will be able to now move into the Jamaica Premier League and make an impact there, so that we can see them at the senior level performing very well. And also thank you to everyone who read online, in print, and even watched some of our coverage on social media about schoolboy football. And thank you for watching this episode of the Sports Club here on the Jamaica Observer's YouTube channel. Continue to like and comment, and make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, see you again.